Imagine spending years building a palace, literally, and then watching one member of the family just pack up, roll their suitcase right past the Golden Gates, and wave goodbye from a private jet. Now imagine begging them to come back. That is King Charles III right now. And Meghan Markle? She did not just say no. She did not just ghost him. She went full nuclear. The kind of move that makes the entire British monarchy look in the mirror and ask, wait, are we the problem? Welcome to the most dramatic royal saga since, well, the last dramatic royal saga. Buckle up, because this one hits different. Quick favor, if you are loving this, hit that subscribe button right now. Over 92% of viewers haven't yet, and it is completely free. Takes literally 1 second and means the absolute world to us here at Celebrity Watch Gist. Also, smash that notification bell so you never miss a single royal meltdown. And trust me, they keep coming. If you already did that, you are a legend. Now, back to the show. So let us rewind a little because context is everything, and without it, you're just watching fireworks without knowing why the city is celebrating or burning. King Charles, the man who waited longer to become king than most people wait for a decent Wi-Fi connection, ascended the throne with one quiet hope buried beneath that crown: reconciliation. With Harry, with Meghan, with the whole messy situation that had turned the royal family into the world's most expensive reality show without any of the fun confessionals. Sources close to the palace have been leaking like a broken faucet. Charles, by all accounts, has been reaching out, quietly at first, the way royals do everything, through aides and intermediaries and carefully worded letters that say absolutely nothing and everything at the same time. Then a little less quietly, then reportedly with a directness that surprised even his own staff. He wants his son back. He wants the family back together. And whether you think that is noble or just good PR ahead of a rough stretch for the monarchy, the desire appears to be genuine. But here's where things get spicy, and we mean ghost pepper in your morning smoothie spicy. Meghan Markle has been building something. While the palace has been extending olive branches, Meghan has been planting an entirely different kind of garden. Her return to Instagram after years away sent the internet into a full-on spiral. The relaunch of her lifestyle brand, As Ever, was not just a business move, it was a statement. It was Meghan stepping back into the spotlight on her own terms, with her own platform, her own narrative, and her own agenda. No palace press secretary needed, no royal rota required. And that, my friends, is the unthinkable that has the palace absolutely shook. Because what Meghan did was not a direct attack. It was not a public statement calling anyone out by name. It was something far more powerful and, frankly, far more devastating to the institution. She simply thrived, loudly, publicly, independently. She built a brand that doesn't need the monarchy to exist. She cultivated an audience that doesn't care about titles. She positioned herself as a self-made powerhouse rather than a reluctant royal exile. And in doing so, she essentially told King Charles, without saying a single word, "You don't have leverage here anymore." Let that sink in for a moment. Now, here's where it gets even more layered, because this story has more layers than a royal wedding cake, and just as many people pretending everything is fine on the outside. Reports have surfaced suggesting that the terms being floated for any kind of Sussex return or reconciliation were not exactly what Meghan and Harry had in mind. There were apparently conditions, expectations, the kind of fine print that comes with royal diplomacy, which is just regular diplomacy with better outfits and worse emotional communication. Harry, for his part, has been described as genuinely conflicted. This is a man who loves his father, who, beneath all the drama and the memoir and the Netflix documentary and the interviews that made half of Britain nearly choke on their tea, still wants a relationship with his family. That much has always been visible. But wanting reconciliation and accepting terms that feel like surrender, those are two very different things. And Meghan is not in the business of surrendering anything right now. Her brand relaunch sent over 1 million followers to her new Instagram page within hours. hours. That is not a person retreating. That is a person advancing. And the timing, whether intentional or coincidental, though let's be honest, with Meghan, nothing is ever purely coincidental, landed right in the middle of the palace's quiet reconciliation push. The message was clear. Meghan Markle doesn't need rescuing, doesn't need rehabilitation, and definitely doesn't need the monarchy's approval to be relevant. But wait, because the plot thickens, and we haven't even gotten to the health dimension of all of this.
King Charles has been battling cancer. He has been public about his diagnosis in a way that the royal family historically never is, which was itself a significant shift. And that vulnerability appears to have deepened his desire to repair things with Harry before time becomes a factor that no one can ignore. There is something profoundly human about a man facing his own mortality and wanting his family whole. Regardless of how you feel about any of these people, that part is hard to dismiss. And yet, the palace's track record on actually following through with genuine reform, on doing the things that would make Harry and Meghan feel genuinely safe and welcome, rather than merely tolerated, has not exactly been inspiring. The alleged briefings against Meghan that Harry described in interviews and in his memoir, the lack of protection, the institutional silence when she needed support, the cold machinery of an institution that prioritized its own image over a family member's well-being. These are not small things. These are not wounds that heal with a well-worded invitation and a handshake. So what does a real reconciliation even look like here? That is the question nobody in or around the palace seems to have a clean answer to. Sources suggest Harry would return to the UK for a significant occasion, the kind of event that makes avoidance more complicated than attendance. But a full-scale return of the Sussexes to any form of royal duties, that conversation appears to be firmly off the table for now. Meghan, according to people in her orbit, has zero interest in stepping back into a structure that she has described as damaging to her mental health. And you know what? After everything that has come out, that position is not exactly a hard one to understand. What is fascinating and genuinely unprecedented is that for the first time in this entire saga, it is the palace doing the chasing. It is the institution that holds all the formal power, all the titles, all the castles, doing the reaching out. And the woman who was once described in hushed British tones as difficult and unsuitable is the one with a thriving brand, a global audience, and absolutely zero obligation to respond on anyone else's timeline. If that is not a character arc, we do not know what is. The British tabloids naturally have had a field day, headlines swinging wildly from sympathetic to savage, often within the same publication on the same day, because the British press has a complicated relationship with Meghan that could fill its own documentary, and actually already has. But even the most hostile corners of the media landscape have had to acknowledge one inconvenient truth. The Sussexes are not fading into obscurity. They are not struggling in California, miserable and irrelevant. They are building something, and the world is watching. There is also the matter of the children, Archie and Lilibet, who King Charles has reportedly expressed deep longing to spend more time with, and that might genuinely be the most powerful card in this entire negotiation. Not titles, not money, not institutional prestige, grandchildren, because grandchildren have a way of cutting through politics and protocol in a way that nothing else really can. Whether Meghan and Harry will find a path forward with the royal family, whether Charles will get the reconciliation he appears to so desperately want, whether the whole saga will end with a warm photo call outside Balmoral or another bombshell interview, nobody truly knows. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes this the most compelling ongoing story in celebrity and royal news right now. What we do know is this: Meghan Markle walked away from one of the most powerful institutions on the planet, rebuilt herself on her own terms, and is now in a position where the institution is coming to her. That is a power shift nobody in the royal establishment saw coming. And King Charles, crown and all, is learning that you cannot outsource family. You cannot manage relationships through press releases, and you absolutely cannot put a price tag on genuine repair. The ball, as they say, is firmly in Buckingham Palace's court, But Meghan already built her own court, and from where we're standing, it looks a lot more fun. Thank you so much for watching and for rocking with Celebrity Watch Gist. You are truly the best audience on the internet, and we mean it. See you in the next one.